Hello, everyone. Welcome to our final Q&A webinar for the first iEnergy open call. Thanks for being here. Just very quickly to let you know how the webinar is going to unfold, and a little bit of housekeeping to start with. So first of all, this webinar is going to be recorded, this Q&A session. So please, if you wouldn't like to be recorded, leave now. In any case, the questions that you pose will be, you will do that in written form through the question panel, and we will read them out loud and we will respond them, so there's no direct interaction in terms of privacy, etc. But yeah, just in case, we wanted to let you know that that we record this session. And I think that's all. It's going to be very simple today. Let me quickly introduce you to my colleagues. Well, on the one hand, that's me, Thomas Wilczek. I'm project manager at Funding Box for iEnergy, and we run mainly the open calls, the organization of the open calls, and the FSTP management, of course, together with our colleagues and consortium partners. Then we have also here Spiros Mouzakitis, who is from the coordinator. Spiros, if you want to say a couple of words.
Hello to everyone. I'm a senior researcher and project manager at the Decision Support Systems Laboratory from the Institute of Computer and Communication Systems of NTUA. And my professional work is based on AI, open big data for decision support systems.
Thank you, Spiros. And then we have also from ICCS, from the coordinator, Vangelis Karakolis. Vangelis.
Hello, everyone. I'm Vangelis Karakolis. I work with Spiros in ICCS, and I am leading the AI work package of iEnergy. My professional work is focused on big data and artificial intelligence systems in the energy domain. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's start with the Q&A. As you can see, you are in good hands. If you have any questions regarding the open call and the application itself, I hope to be able to respond that. And then any other technical elements and project elements, of course, there are Vangelis and Spiros to respond to your questions. So I would say, without further ado, because we also we have had a lot of info days. We have posted a lot of information on the different channels. There was this previous webinar that we had in December. The recording, you can find it if you haven't done so yet on the website. So there's plenty information about iEnergy, the project, and this first open call already. So we wanted to dedicate this last webinar to you. To your questions. Hopefully that message got to you correctly. We imagine you are about to start an application because you have heard very late about the open call, because it's going to close on the 20th of January. So in 10 days, you would still have time to create a good application. But mainly we think that the audience is going to be today of applicants that are already working on the application, and they've come across some doubts, some questions that they would like us to respond. So please feel free to pose your questions now, and we will be happy to try and respond them. At the moment, we don't see any question here. You would have to go to the panel and post your questions. No questions so far. We didn't count with that, did we? That people would have a clear idea on everything that the open call entails.
I see some raised hands.
Okay, but I believe it would be better for for the audience to write the questions, if that would be possible.
Okay, I see a question. Could you please explain better the IPR management of the results and the model developed?
Okay. Spiros, would you? I think I'm not seeing this question. I think I have some technical issues here. Just bear with me a second. If you would like to try and respond to the question, I will try to solve the issues here.
Okay, yes, Thomas. So regarding the APR stays with the beneficiaries. The beneficiaries that are creating the product and the solution, the APR stays with them. So it's up to you to let us know, for instance, the license and all the details that have to do with your product. So it's up to you also to decide what is your business model behind it and present it in the proposal. For instance, which of the components you're considering to have as public, which of the components to have as open source. There is, as you already know, there are different license and different business models that someone can use. Open source doesn't mean that it cannot also be commercial, or you can have a different arrangement. So the basic premise is that the IPR stays with the beneficiaries and you're responsible for the license of the product that you will be submitting in your application.
Are you? I'm having technical issues here. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
I can hear you.
Ah, okay, thank you.
And I can see some of the rest of the questions, but the panel is a little small, so give me a second. I see now a question: do we need to have an established company to apply?
Yes, that one is for me. Yes, you do need to have an established company. It should have been registered by the 8th of November, which was the launch day of the open call, and it should be an SME. In the guide for applicants, you can find the exact definition. It sometimes varies depending on the country, but yeah, we are looking for SMEs, and more specifically for startups maybe, so which could be a micro SME or a small SME. But yeah, you need a registered company. Next question.
Okay, I'm going to proceed with the next question. The participant says, I am the one just found out the application. I have two questions. First is about the chronological priority. If I submit the last day, I will be penalized in case of tier, isn't it?
penalized in case of tier. Not exactly sure what is meant by that, but the deadline is the same for every project. In case during the selection process, in the different phases, there will be, of course, a number of rankings to select the best proposals, depending on the criteria that we use. And sometimes there are several projects with the same score, for example. Then we apply some resolution elements, I would call them, and here one of it, but already one at a very late stage, so there are some previous ones. So we would firstly go, let me quickly explain. We have three main criteria sections, which are Horizon 2020 standards, which is implementation, impact, and excellence. So if we have projects with the same score and we need a decision, we would firstly go for the one that has top scored in excellence, top scores in impact, etc., like that. And then we would have, I think, as a fourth option, the actual date of the application. So if they have submitted the application earlier or not. I don't remember a case that this happened. It's just one last resort, I would say, to help us take a decision. So you shouldn't worry about that, really. Anyway, all this information, you can find it in the guide for applicants, which anyway, for any application to this open call, you should study thoroughly. All the information is in there.
Thank you very much, Thomas. So there's another question. Are there any limitations in case the company got Horizon funding before?
No limitations, but we cannot, a same development or same project cannot be funded twice. So there's this issue of double funding, which will be checked. So you cannot apply with the same development for different Horizon 2020 projects.
Okay, perfect. We have another question. I was wondering, what is the final product expected to be uploaded on the platform, since we are planning on doing a full web app API with several DL models on it?
Okay, let me explain this a little bit. The idea of the AI for you platform is to be the one-stop shop for different models, notebooks, applications. So there are two parts. There is the AI catalog, and there is also the AI experiments. Your application can have any flexibility in terms of the architecture. It's not limited by the platform. The main concept is that whatever we build, we communicate that in the AI for you community for the others to find. So, for instance, you can submit the metadata of your application in the AI catalog. So I would advise you to have a look at the AI for you platform and ensure you understand how you can, let's say, share your results on the platform. And your results could be either public or they can be also private with a link to your activities. So there is a research, let's say, area where you can upload the artifacts of your work with links to your to the code or more open things, or you can have link to your private application. So the platform itself doesn't limit the architectural these considerations and decisions.
Thank you very much. We have another question. Do we need to have an established company to apply?
I think it's the same question that we already responded earlier. Maybe the attendee entered later. Yes, you do. It has to be registered at the very latest on the I believe it's the 8th of November, which is when the open call started. Yeah, we are looking for SMEs, registered companies, and within that, more specifically, startups, which could be called micro SMEs, right?
Okay, thank you very much. Another question, are there sections that are more important in the evaluation than others?
I would say you should give your best in every section and try to give the very best application that you can, for, also for us to have enough information. I don't know if you have anything to add there, Spiros.
No, I would answer the same, yes. And there are thresholds, you know, in each criteria and each section. And maybe you're doing well in one section, but you're not doing well in another one. So we want to see there is a good score in all the sections in order to have a competitive application.
Perfect. Another question. The second question is about the data. Should we provide our own data to support the project, or will you provide some of the data or allow to test using data from the case studies of your project?
Okay, for this particular call, the applicants need to ensure that they have access to the data based on which they will create also their applications, because as you understand, each application and each model development is totally different. It might need different data, different features. So at this phase where we are expecting building blocks, you should use your own data. We think that after during the technology transfer project, of course, we can have mentoring and we can have support within the project, and we can see what we can do. But we would not provide data from the case studies of your project for this section, for this forum.
Okay, that's clear. We have another question. Will open source products be preferred over commercial products?
Yes, I would say open source products are preferred. They're not. It's not an obligation, but we prefer to see open source.
But it will be a combination, because open source sometimes doesn't mean it can be reused. Maybe something is open source and it has so many limitations of the license, so it's not exploitable. And on the other hand, maybe you have a very innovative commercial product that has some aspects open, not necessarily open source, but open, or provide some building blocks for the users, or provide some information, data, models openly, publicly available. And that can be also very important and have a big impact. So I wouldn't limit this to open source or versus commercial product. It's a little bit more complicated than that. What we want to see is that there is an offering, let's say, an impact on the AI for you platform with building blocks and ideas and novel products.
Very much. We have another doubt here. Can the SME subcontract an RTO to do part of the development work?
Could you repeat that question? Sorry.
Yes, of course. Can the SME subcontract an RTO to do part of the development work?
I guess it's a case-by-case issue, Spiros. I would say we prefer original work. We fund teams. A team that is a part of the application is the selection criteria. There's a team part, so we actually look for talent, and that's mostly therefore should be in-house. I don't recall that we are exactly against subcontracting, but I think it should be limited and the main work should be done in-house by the team that we have been able to see in the application and score, right? I don't know if there's anything to add, Spiros.
If the applicant wants to find out, it's better if he sent a more detailed question to our community portal to provide the specific answer for his case.
Yeah. Yeah, at times it's difficult. It's often case by case. So generically, maybe my response can cover a large amount of areas, but as Spiro says, it's probably better to send a specific question to our help desk. I will mention this at the end of the webinar as well. If you don't know it just yet, we have a help desk space in the iEnergy online community, and we have also a help desk email where you can contact us, where we can maybe be more specific and actually check some cases also with the legal team.
Thank you, Thomas. So we have another doubt here. I think it refers to the application form. So it says Q refers to the section excellence field about approach and ambition. How do you define the term the state of the art in this context? The precise results obtained by AI algorithms on concrete real-world cases usually are not publicly available.
Yes, okay. So this is a general question about how do we define state of the art when there are a lot of companies that have a lot of knowledge and they are very innovative and we don't know which states. Of course, we cannot know what it is private, but what the applicant should know and is the current level of the current level, the state of the art from the conference, from the events, from the what the major companies are already providing publicly available, and especially there is a lot of information and a lot of results in terms of the research papers that someone can have a look. And there is a lot of information about the state of the art that someone can use to understand where he stands in terms of that level.
So we have another question here. Could you please provide more details on the type of elements that the selected projects will have to share on the AI4U platform? Is it a full access to the AI solutions that will be developed by the applicants?
Sorry, I'm reading again the question.
Read it again.
Okay, so we have to specify what is meant by full access to the AI solutions. Does it mean full open access? Does it mean that maybe if you can give more information about I would propose that you enter the AI4U platform, see the different options, and see what you can upload there, and in order to have a better view of what how you can share the information, this information to AI4U. We don't necessarily we don't impose that everything you build will be open to everyone and it will be public. You can create private applications and share the link and the metadata and the rest of the metadata on AI4U platform.
Thank you. We have another doubt here. Let's assume that we are aiming to develop a model to generate a better forecast for electricity generation. If the results do not turn out as we hoped, even though we do our best, are we still eligible to get the fund?
Okay, I assume this means that if we have selected this applicant, but we have an idea, we are doing research, and the results are not as good as we hoped, right? Because I assume this is after the project has been selected. Of course, this happens with every research. You cannot guarantee, let's say, that you're going to have the perfect results or you're going to have the problems. And everything that we always work in agile way in research, right? But what we will be validated, and you will be validated in terms of if the procedure that it has been followed to develop these models is sound, and the research outcomes coming from this. Even knowing what works and what doesn't work is very helpful for the energy value chain. Okay, of course, now I will have to talk more details about what the results don't turn out as we hoped mean. But it's valuable. The target audience is always the stakeholders from the energy supply chain. So if the tools and the results that come is helpful for the community, then it's going to have a good impact.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. There is another question. Can we assume that judges who evaluate the applications are knowledgeable about electricity markets and processes?
I can take that one. Yes, the external evaluators. Each application will be evaluated by two external evaluators, one expert in the energy area and one in the AI area. And if you get further into the next phase, then there will be the selection committee of the iEnergy Consortium, which also includes the experts of both areas.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. Are there all areas of experimentation equally important? Is there any preference? Will the projects be split across the different areas of experimentation?
Thomas, I can answer this, I think. Yes, all the areas of experimentation are equally important. And you should focus on the novelty of your application. And we would expect all these areas were specifically written because we expect that they have impact and they are important. And if the projects will be split, we will have, it depends on the scoring that the applications get. We won't have a predefined, let's say, mentality that some areas are covered by other projects and some other areas won't be covered. The first and most important thing is the innovation of the projects and that they get good scores in all sections.
Okay, perfect. We do have some questions regarding the application form. So I'm going to start with the first one regarding this. So Q refers to the section excellence field about soundness of the approach. What kind of arguments or evidence do you expect in this section? Can you give some examples?
I believe the application form already describes and gives examples in it. Could we skip the question for a moment and I can get back to it in a second?
Yeah. Okay, I could also add that when we talk about soundness, it means that there is argumentation, and it is being built on a theoretical groundwork that makes sense. So the type of arguments I would expect would be scientific, valid arguments about that the approach is sound. It doesn't have any. It doesn't have bias, for instance. It doesn't have errors in the or misconceptions and so on. So it is being validated by the applicants as well as by the groundwork that has been done.
We have another question here. Are explainable AI models preferable as output?
Probably I can answer that. Yeah, explainable AI models are valuable as an output. Of course, they are equally important with AI models that are very accurate. Yeah, we want to see explainable AI models, but also accuracy is another strong point that we want to see.
And to also want to say that don't forget our target audience is the energy actors, so from the energy supply chain. So they need to understand, I guess, how these models work or have an argumentation about it. So this could be part also of your answer, of how useful they are for the actors and for the target audience.
We have another question here. Is confidentiality granted for all documents or code sources being given access to as evidence on GitHub?
I didn't get the final part. I can respond to the first part. Of course, confidentiality is granted. I didn't get the GitHub bit.
Yeah, of course. So the whole question is confidentiality granted for all documents or code sources being given access to as evidence on GitHub?
Well, Spiros, I don't know if you want to respond. GitHub is open source.
Yes, I assume, Thomas, the question is if they include, for instance, access or links on GitHub in the application form, if they will be confidential, and we ensure that we don't, let's say, leak the access or provide access to other people.
If they are marked as confidential, then of course, yes.
We have another question in the application form. Q refers to the section transversal criteria field about gender balance. We are a small team. There will be 3 men working on the project because they are most qualified for this work. Does this mean that the team is balanced?
Gender balance team would be 50-50 balance. So it wouldn't be balanced. In any case, this is one of many different criteria. So it's just one part of many elements that we use to select and to score. But yeah, following guidelines of the European Commission, we support gender balance. Okay. I hope that has responded to the question. More questions, Laura?
Yes, there are some questions, more legal type. So I don't know if we better like ask our legal team and answer in the help desk.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna read this question and you will let me know if it's for the legal team, and if not, yeah, we can continue. Q refers to the section excellence field about contributions to the AI for you ecosystem and AI energy. It seems that the ecosystem of AI for you is still in a very early stage, and it is not clear what kind of solutions would fit into your plans. Can you explain this further?
Okay, so I found the question. Well, AI for you, as I said before, has different tools that you can find. It has the AI for catalog, it has the AI for you experiments, and it is evolving all the time. And many parts of it are still working. So I don't know what a very early stage means. So first of all, as I said before, the architectural decisions for your product, the AI for you platform could accommodate, it's a one-stop shop for models and applications. So it could accommodate, it doesn't impose any restrictions on the architecture that you follow. So you can provide, let's say, information, and you can provide back to the AI for you platform without issues on a basic level on sharing with the AI for catalog. For the AI experiments also, there is a way of you creating wrappers if for someone who wants to share their component through the AI for you experiments, which is not mandatory, by the way. And they can provide some reusable blocks and wrap them around specific protocols, and they can share it to them. And the infrastructure is then run on their premises. So there is a lot of flexibility in both the AI for you catalogs and the AI for you experiments, so someone could use. So it's not limiting the solutions that you can follow. What we will evaluate is one of the things that we will evaluate is the reusability for the target audience, which is the energy sector. This is you should have in mind. So you should think of products that are reusable and interoperable, and that can be used by energy companies or by researchers, for instance, or whatever your main target audience is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. We have another question on the application form. Q refers to the section excellence field about type of license planning to use. If we choose any proprietary license, will it comply with this program's requirements?
Yes. As we said before, yes, we don't impose open source, but we will evaluate in a positive way if there are things that the application gives back to the community, whatever that form is.
Question for now. Should we include in the application form members that may be part of the team but are not part of the company? Example internship or PhD students collaborating with us?
It would be good to see a small core team. In any case, the application form allows to add team members, a large number of team members. So any additional information that you can give us is welcome for us to get an idea, a better idea of your setup and of your application. But what might be interesting to know is these students, because of course you will get a grant and you will have to create a budget in your work plan or in your individual mentoring plan on how you're using the budget to create your development within the program. So we also need to know who are you paying, or who is maybe supporting the program, your project in a different way when you talk about students, etc. So I believe in the form there is space for you to give all that information. But yeah, the more information, the more concise, the better.
Thank you, Thomas. We have a participant that says that wants to know about the platform integration, Desiderata.
Sorry, Laura, can you repeat? I didn't understand the question.
Yes, of course. He wants to know more about our platform integration, Desiderata. Maybe I can ask the participant to rephrase the question.
Didn't hear the last part. Where he can find more information about platform integration? The last.
Desiderata.
Desiderata.
Sorry, I cannot understand.
We can ask the participant to maybe elaborate the question again, or write a message.
If he means the AI for you platform, the link is also in the guide for applicants, I think.
Yeah.
Unless he means a different one, because this is the platform that we are talking about. But again, this is AI for you is one-stop shop for sharing your results, so people can find the knowledge and your applications, either private or public links there. So it's not about integrating their solutions with another solution in a more technical way, except with the AI for review experiments that gives access, either private or public, in a graphical manner. So someone can create graphical pipelines within their systems. And this is a very good tool also for you to expand, let's say, the users that will have access to your application.
Thank you very much. We have still room for one more question. I tried to add more than 3 team members, but it didn't work. Is the limit of 3 team members mandatory?
I've just seen that question, yeah. Let me get back to you on that on the in the help desk space. To be very honest, I have to double check. My impression was that you could add more members, but I'm in doubt now. I have to go back to you on that. I will do that in the help desk space, and I give you that exact information.
Okay, so we have time for the closing.
Okay, if there are no more questions, it's true. The time has gone by very quickly. It's already the end of the session. Thank you very much for your questions. In any case, as you can see here, you can contact us at ienergy.help@fundingbox.com, which is the email, or join the iEnergy community. You can do that through the iEnergy website, or going directly here to spaces.fundingbox.com/c/iEnergy. In the community, there's a specific space, this one, help desk space, where you can post your questions, and we try to respond as quickly as possible. Yeah, and if you haven't started an application yet, you're still on time. The deadline is the 20th of January, I believe, 5 p.m. CET. So you still have about a week, a bit more than a week to do so. And we are here to support you. Please get in touch anytime. Thank you. Anything else from your side, Spiros, Angelis?
No.
Nothing else? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your support. And yeah, we're looking forward to reading your applications.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.